How has humanity been educated? What was the educational method of humanity from the beginning? 4 great steps are being taken to educate mankind in the process of evolution. First, humanity was worked upon from without unconsciously by the higher beings. Later, we were placed under the rulership of divine messengers and kings whom we see and whose commands we obey. Next, we are taught to revere the commands of a God we do not see. And finally, we learn to rise above the commands, for humanity is to become a law unto itself. Each individual is required to conquer himself or herself, using his or her free will, so as to live in harmony with the order of nature, which is the law of God. To conquer oneself is to overcome the lower desires. 4-fold also are the steps to which mankind climbs upward to God. First, through fear, we worship God, whom we begin to sense, sacrificing to propitiate Him, as do followers of traditional religion. Next, we learn to look to God as the giver of all things and hope to receive from Him material benefits here and now. We sacrifice through avarice, expecting that the Lord will repay 100-fold or to escape instant punishment. Next, we are taught to worship God by prayer and the living of a good life, and that we must cultivate faith in a heaven where we will be rewarded in the future, and to abstain from evil that we may escape a future punishment in hell. At last, we come to a point where we can do right without any thought of reward, bribe, or punishment, but simply because it is right to do right. We love right for its own sake and seek to govern our conduct thereby, regardless of present benefit or injury, or of painful results at some future time. Another way to say all this is that in all religions, we are talking about all religions, in all of them, the first level of worshiping God is through fear and obedience. The super beings who represent God Jehovah guided humanity in various parts of the globe and brought about laws, racial religions, social systems, and languages. There were severe punishment for disobedience, including instant death, enslavement, snake bites, defeats in wars, famine, plague, poverty, and so on, as we read in Genesis chapter 32. Animal sacrifice in atonement of sin or as an offering to the Lord was paramount. A lot of animal sacrifices. That is the initial stages when it comes to awareness of God. Later on, the carrot and stick approach, or the law of reciprocity and prosperity, was introduced, by which the individual was taught to be unselfish by giving part of his possessions, her possessions, to others. For example, the immediate family, the clan, or the ethnic group. The best of material things, those days it's all about animals and grains, and others, dearest to the hearts of everyone, were required for sacrifice to God. In reciprocity, the individual was also to be protected against his or her enemies, pestilence, and evil attacks. He or she was to be rewarded with blessings, including long life and increment in material possessions. Many people learn to do good to their neighbors with the expectation that there will be returns immediately or later on. Inversely, on the other hand, people were taught to refrain from getting even with their enemies under the proclamation of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The laws also required mankind to deal kindly, justly, and fairly with others. So long as the individual obeyed and trusted God, his or her prosperity will be boundless. These laws and values were fundamental across all societies, races, ethnic groups, clans, and families all over the world. They were first inaugurated through a system of theocracy and later on monarchy or chieftaincy. The third level of raising the consciousness of humanity is the introduction of love and selfless action, where service is rendered to one's neighbor without consideration of earthly recompense. Rather, the benefits are pegged to a future happiness in heaven after death. Let us be reminded that love and selfless service have their fundamentals in the law. Love is about peace and oneness with others and creation. It is revealed in the person who obeys the laws and has come to the realization that all is one in God. The fourth level of spiritual consciousness is where loving, self-forgetting service is offered without any thought or expectation of reward, but on the singular motivation that it is right to do right. This consciousness says that all is divine. Everything, everybody, we all belong to one God. In God, there is no separateness. As such, what affects one affects all. Matthew chapter 6 verse 1 to 4 gives indication of this highest level, which is the fourth level, that divine realization that we are all one. Let's look at the classes of people in any and every religion. The ancient tabernacle in the wilderness gives an indication of the classes of people in every religion, and we present that in the following diagram. To the left, you find the path to holiness.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.